Public television coverage of the 1980 West Virginia Boys High School Basketball State Tournament is made possible in part by public service grants from A&T Pontiac Buick in Bluefield, K&K Television, B&M Coal Company, and the First Clark National Bank of Northfork. From Morgantown, Public Television presents the 1980 West Virginia Boys High School Basketball State Tournament. Here to call the play-by-play are Woody O'Hara and Bill O'Brien.
The State High School Basketball Tournament is being held for the third time here at the WVU Coliseum. And for the second time in a row, and for the second year in a row, it's my pleasure to be working with Woody O'Hara. The Irish connection is back, O'Brien and O'Hara.
I was going to say, Bill, it sounds like we're celebrating St. Patrick's Day a little bit late, but we look like we have an instant replay of the, well, 2 out of the past 3 years, 3 out of the past 4, whatever it is. We've got the same combatants going at one another in this AA championship ball game, and it's going to be just as exciting as it has been for past years.
I think definitely, and not only the excitement, but of course there is much more on the line for the Northfork Blue Demons. The Demons, they have won 7 out of the last 9 championships in AA, and they're going to tie a national record should they win today's game. Of course, Winfield, they have had marvelous records. They have lost only 4 games in the last 2 years, and Coach Ronnie Chambers is hopeful of upsetting the Northfork Blue Demons, most of the year ranked either first or second in the state. And Woody, you have been watching high school basketball for many years. Let's get your observations on today's game.
At least 60 years, Bill. It seems that at least. It would appear that if the upset is to come, probably it will come in this ball game, because Winfield is just loaded with seniors right on down the line. Their first 5 are seniors, experienced ball players. They've got some good offensive punch. As you said, they come in with an outstanding record. On the other side of the ledger, tradition may play a little bit of a part in this ball game, because the Demons are going for their 7th straight. There's a team in Providence, Ohio, way back where, Providence, Rhode Island, a high school team that won 7 straight state championships. And today, Northfork is trying to duplicate that. I asked Jennings Boyd just before we got underway here if there was any truth to the fact that after the ball game, he was going to announce his resignation. He said, no, I think I'd like to stick around and try to win 8 in a row. So they've got ball players coming out of that Northfork area year in and year out. They've proved very successful with them, but Winfield does provide a very stiff challenge today. Getting into the tournament, Ravenswood was defeated by Winfield in the first round action in AA. Berkeley Springs gave Northfork quite a fight for 3 quarters. It was a 4 5-point ball game for about 2 and 2.5 quarters, and then the Blue Demons broke away and went out to win convincingly over Berkeley Springs. So neither team has really had an easy flight to this final game in the AA ranks, but it's going to be a dogfight in this one, I'm sure.
Woody, I had a chance just moments ago to talk to the head Blue Demons coach, Jennings Boyd, and this is what he had to say. Coach, could we have your thoughts just before the start of this game on your chance to win another championship?
Well, Bill, certainly it's an exciting time for all of us. And as far as the game itself is concerned, I think 2 good basketball teams here competing for the AA state championship. And as far as we're concerned, our coaching staff, we look at it. We're going out here this afternoon and do the best job that we possibly can, win or lose, and our young men are in a good frame of mind, and I think that they have the attitude that they're going out and do their best. If we win it, it will be something great, but of course at the same time I think our young men full well realize that if we get beat by this good basketball team, then they certainly will deserve the championship.
Is this one any different from the others since you're going for the national record, or at least to tie the national record?
Well, I think that as far as the kids are concerned, they want to win the championship for themselves, and the 7 straight would be something that's secondary in the back of their minds. As far as I'm concerned, personally, this is the most exciting time of my entire life.
What do you know about your opposition, the Winfield Generals?
The thing that impresses me most about them, Bill, is their size. They're going to start 6'6", 6'5", 6'4", 6'2", 6'2", probably the biggest team that we've played against all year. And I think that the whole game is going to be decided on the rebounding factor.
We're looking forward to an exciting game. Jennings Boyd, thanks for being with us and good luck.
Thank you, Bill.
Well, we're nearing game time between the Winfield Generals, 22-3, coming in the AA championship game, and the Northfork Blue Demons, not with a great record this year, but they've played a pretty tough schedule. Northfork 18-8 coming into this final championship ball game in the AA ranks. It all started way back when, and this is the culmination of a lot of hopes and dreams for both these ball clubs and their fine followings on hand for today's game. Well, we'll be taking a look at the starting lineups right after this word.
And 8, their head coach Jennings Boyd. For Winfield High School, the Generals with a record of 22-3, their head coach Ron Chambers.
Well, there you have the two head coaches, Jennings Boyd on your left, Ron Chambers on your right. And now to Frank Stevens and the introduction of the starting lineups for today's game.
Managers for Northfork, Tommy Cable, Chris Blevins, and statistician Gary Dove. For the Generals, managers Scott Van Pelt, Rick Dalton, Tom Miller, Sean Nezelrot, and trainer Tracy Weekly. And now let's meet the players in today's game. For Northfork, wearing number 45, Kenny Brown. For Winfield, wearing number 24, Jamie McKinney. For Northfork, wearing number 15, Henry Hall. And for the Generals, wearing number 20, Mark Poor. For the Blue Demons, wearing number 55, Michael Boyd. For the Generals, number 40, Ronnie Withrow. For the Blue Demons, number 25 is Mark Glenn. And for the Generals, number 42 is David Strickland. Number 11 for the Blue Demons is Ricky Harmon. And number 30 for the Generals is Barry Randolph. For the Blue Demons, number 23, George Peoples. For the Generals, number 10, Keith Glenn. For Northfork, number 35, William Foster. And for Winfield, number 44, Terry Pauley. Also for Northfork, not dressed, injured in the last game of the season, Jody Lusk. And now let's meet the starting lineup for this AA final game. First for Northfork, starting at a forward, wearing number 31, a 6'3" senior, Dwayne Spencer. And for the Generals, wearing number 34, a 6'2" senior, Charlie Fuller. At a forward for the Blue Demons, wearing number 43, a 6'4" junior, Jesse Fields. And for Winfield High, at a forward, wearing number 14, a 6'6" senior, Mark Saber. At center for the Blue Demons, wearing number 41, a 6'2" junior, Quentin Crenshaw. At center for the Generals, wearing number 32, a 6'5" senior, Matt Matthews. At guard for Northfork, wearing number 13, a 6' junior, Kenny White. And at guard for the Generals, wearing number 22, a 6'4" senior, Dwayne Sowards. At guard for the Demons, wearing number 21, a 5'9" senior, Robert Foster. And for the Generals at guard, wearing number 12, a 5'10" senior, Steve Crozier. And now, ladies and gentlemen, would you all please stand for the national anthem, sung by Mark Lockhart of Grafton High School. Ladies and gentlemen, our national anthem.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watch were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets' red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave for the land of the free and the home of the brave.
The West Virginia State High School basketball tournament coming from the WVU Coliseum on the campus of West Virginia University. We're just about set for the tip-off for the AA championship. Region 3, that's Northfork, and the representative from Region 4 is Winfield. These two teams played last year for the championship. Northfork had Russell Todd et al., and they won the ball game 78-66. Several players coming back from last year. 3 of Northfork starters return. Winfield has 2 returning. And now to return to the microphone for the first half play-by-play of this game from WWVU Television, Channel 24 in Morgantown. Here is the voice of West Virginia sports, Woody O'Hara.
Well, thank you, Bill O'Brien. Quite a flowery introduction. I'm flattered. I got the feeling while young Mark Lockhart from Grafton High was singing the national anthem, all quiet here in the big house in Morgantown, kind of felt like the Matador just before they released the bull. This is going to be quite a basketball game, as these two teams have made it a habit to meet in the AA championship ball game, and they're doing it here again this afternoon. 32 in the white there for the Winfield Generals is Matt Matthews. He's going against Jesse Fields to tap into the backcourt, and it's Mark Saber with the basketball. The Generals 22-3 coming in to the championship ball game. Let's identify some outside for you. Sowards, he's the big man with a 20-point average, misses the shot, and the Demons come down with a rebound. Dwayne Spencer and a whistle underneath. The game's first foul goes to Dwayne Sowards. And this young man now, Bill, a senior, 6'4", comes in averaging 20.8. We've seen him. It seems like he's lived his entire life in the state tournament, but he has certainly come into his own this year and one of the leading scorers in the state.
I talked to his coach, Ron Chambers, Woody. He said Sowards is not quite 100%. He was hurt in the semifinal game, and he'll be playing a lot on guts for today's game.
Dwayne Spencer at the line scores the game's first point. And he's on a 2-shot foul situation, does not come up with the second one. And down floor with the ball come the Generals. Contact before the center line and a foul called on Quentin Crenshaw. So both teams with a team foul. Crenshaw his first, the 6'2" junior from Northfork, 10-point scorer. And already some token pressure in the ball game. These two will go at it for a full game. And if tradition serves out, it'll be close right to the wire. The Generals having some trouble with that Blue Demon defense. Sowards gets inside, loses the ball, but I believe a foul was called before the shot try. It's Jesse Fields, his first personal, number 43 Fields, and the second team foul against the Northfork Ball Club. In their ball game with Berkeley Springs, both Northfork and the Berkeley Springs Indians got into foul trouble. That's something both coaches hope to avoid here today. Sowards with his try. He has not hit the mark yet. And on the bouncing rebound, Fields for Northfork. To Crenshaw. On up they come with it to Kenny White. He's the little quarterback. Shot from about 15 range by Fields is no good. Fighting for the rebound is White. Slapped out of there. Matt Matthews taps the ball back near the center line. And the Demons will try it all over again. Here's Spencer. They go into the corner to Fields. And Northfork, too, having trouble against the defense. Walking called against White. And that's the game's first turnover. The officials for today's ball game, Bob Downey and Jim Murray. And Bill O'Brien, I understand there was some question or a great deal of secrecy about this pair very late.
Yeah, they've got a new format for the officials this year. They have 18 officials, and they chose the ones to work the championship games last night.
Number 14, Mark Saber, attempted the shot. He was fouled. Foul called on Dwayne Spencer. That's the third team foul against Northfork. And Saber will go to the line, trying to get Northfork on the board. The Blue Demons lead very early in the first quarter, 6.5 minutes to go. Northfork 1-0. Saber, a 7-point per game scorer, ties it up at 1. And he'll have a chance to put his ball club in the lead. A 6'6" senior. Quite a compliment to Sowards and Matthews inside. And he hits on the second one. And the Generals take a 2-1 lead. Being quite familiar with the Northfork Berkeley Springs game earlier in the tournament, the Demons did not break out of it until very, very late in the ball game. Here's Spencer. Spencer with all three Northfork points, and the Demons go back to a 1-point lead at 3-2. Steve Crozier goes down in the corner with it to Saber, back to Crozier, and walking. So both guards, both ways we should say, are having a little bit of trouble sticking to this Coliseum floor. This has got to be quite a thrill, I would think, Bill, for some of these ball clubs to come in here, probably never even seeing this facility before.
Yeah, Woody, this is a marvelous place to watch and to play basketball. It's like a giant fishbowl. Here's a long one coming. Fields missing. Rebound Spencer.
Well, so far it's Spencer 5 and Winfield 2. In the backcourt, Robert Foster guilty of the personal. And as they did in the ball game in the first round, starting out with some foul problems early on in the ball game. That's the fourth team foul against the Blue Demons. Only one so far in the ball game against Winfield, and it's owned by the young man who just tossed the ball in, Dwayne Sowards. This is Crozier against Foster into the front court. They try to go into the corner, but the ball batted away and taken by Quentin Crenshaw, number 41. White on the dribble. Northfork looking to penetrate. That very fine zone defense put up by the Generals. Here's a shot outside by Crenshaw, and Sowards right in his face. So Dwayne Sowards, their 20-point-plus scorer, has 2 fouls so far in the ball game. And it'll send Quentin Crenshaw to the foul line. Timeout called by Ron Chambers and the Winfield Generals as they're trying to get things together. And I would think, Bill, that in that huddle, Chambers is probably going to do a little talking to Dwayne Sowards because he can ill afford to lose him or even put him on the bench for any time at all in this ball game.
Right, Woody. I had a chance to talk to the Winfield head coach, and he mentioned to me for them to win the ball game, they would have to rebound especially well, and they would have to cut off the inside game of the Blue Demons, and that's what they've been trying to do.
We're into the general huddle right now. Let's see what they're talking about.
Rebound the thing and get it out of there. Rebound it and get it out of there. Let's go. Settle back. Set them picks.
Go ahead and take it out.
You're going to set them early up there, Ron. You're not going to be able to set them down here.
Let's go.
That is Ronnie Chambers, graduated from Marshall in 1969. In his third year as the head coach, he was an assistant, or rather head coach at Winfield Junior High for 2 years and head coach at Park Junior High in Beckley for 2 years. And now in his third season at the helm for the Generals.
Well, he hasn't won it yet, but can't you see it on that resume when you're looking for a job that I've had my team in the state finals 3 times? That's got to be quite an accomplishment. Ronnie Chambers and the Winfield Generals down by 3 at this point, and Northfork at the foul line in the person of Quentin Crenshaw.
Sounds like a novelist, doesn't he? With a name like that.
Right. We had a Lionel Hampton earlier in the tournament, too. That was quite amusing. 6-2 the score as Crenshaw hits on 1 out of 2. And the Demons lead by 4 with just over 5 minutes to go here in the first quarter. AA championship game. A loop pass inside intended for Sowers. And a little pushing off underneath. So that's number 3 on Dwayne Sowers. You mentioned Dwayne had been injured. He is carrying a good bit of plate protection. All kinds of bandages and pads inside the sock on his left leg. And he just doesn't look up to full potential here this afternoon, Bill. He's just dragging just a bit. Jamie McKinney comes into the ball game for Winfield, replacing Sowers. And Northfork again on the attack. This is Ford. Around the top they go to Foster. Inside, White on the high post has it batted away. And coming up with the ball is McKinney. The pass off to Crozier, and he's got the 2. That's the first field goal of the afternoon for Winfield. 6-4 Northfork. Still early in the first quarter. Out front, Wayne Spencer. Good move and a good shot. And other than the free throw by Crenshaw, Spencer has scored all of the Northfork 8 points except 1. 8-4 is the score. Foster just noodling around there in the back court. I don't think he's really planning on putting any pressure on anybody, but just trying to cause a little something in the war of nerves. Outside, the shot is no good by Fuller, and down with the rebound come the Blue Demons. This is Foster, loses the ball. Matthews with the quick hands takes it away. Crozier at the other end. His shot high off the glass. And we're going to play a little racehorse basketball. Good pass on the break. The shot no good, but a foul called. Mark Saber on the arm of Quentin Crenshaw. 4. And for Saber, his first personal. Well, I'm glad we're in television and not radio this afternoon, because I think if I had to keep up with that bit of play on the radio, I'd still be probably passed out here on the floor, Bill.
I tell you, that's one thing about the tube. We have some little extras. We also have a shotgun microphone that you'll have a chance to hear the officials when they make some calls, and we'll also be able to peek into the various huddles throughout the day.
Okay, Fields hits 1 of 2. And the Northfork lead goes out to 5 at 9-4. We're halfway through the first quarter of action here in the AA championship. Crozier, they're looking inside to Saber. Now Crozier goes to Saber. Baseline jumper, partially blocked by Fields, and a whistle coming after that play. It's on Foster. That'll be number 2 on the hustling Bob Foster. He prefers to be called Robert. 5'9" senior, averaging about 8.5 points a ball game. Stepping to the line now is Matt Matthews for the Winfield Generals. Matthews, like the fellow who fouled him, averaging 8.5 a game. That's his first point of the afternoon.
Both Matthews and Sowers returned from last year's starting unit.
Second shot, and this one won't fall. Way high in the air. Quentin Crenshaw, he might have set an altitude record there. Here's Foster from the baseline, and it hangs for him. Robert Foster. As we said earlier, 5 seniors starting for Winfield, but they've lost Sowers with 3 fouls. They have junior McKinney in the ball game now. Here's Crozier, way outside. That would have been a 3-point play there. And the interception up the center line. Mark Poore is in the ball game. Down to the right, shot, no good. Tap, boy, they're playing the boards this afternoon, but it wouldn't go. Crenshaw out with the rebound, quickly up floor for the Blue Demons. And White protects it, lets everybody get into place, drops it back to Foster. The Demons spreading it a bit. Here's the shot. And just off the side of the rim. Rebound pulled down by Charlie Fuller up floor quickly. This is Mark Poore, and the offensive foul called against Poore.
Yeah, but wasn't it a pretty pass?
It was a pretty pass indeed. I get the feeling, though, he would have liked to have traded the pass and everything that happened thereafter. 11-5 the score. 3 minutes to go here in the first quarter. Northfork in search of their 7th straight state championship. And if they gain it here in this ball game, it will tie a national high school record. Of course, Winfield has something to say about that. A very strong ball club. Inside, White goes up with a shot. That's his first basket of the afternoon. 13-5 the score, and the Demons forging out to an 8-point lead. Charlie Fuller. A double clutch, puts it up, and the ball is carried out of bounds. Carried out of bounds by Winfield. Matt Matthews couldn't quite get the handle. And a bit of indecision both on the part of the players and the official that time.
That's the Winfield end of the floor, and a bunch of folks came up. That town is located very close to Huntington and Charleston. They made the trip up here.
Crenshaw could not hit the shot, but on the rebound and the ensuing dribble, Charlie Fuller tramps the end line. So the ball will go back over to the Blue Demons. This is the first time we'll see a set play from them on their end of the floor. Out of the pack comes Quentin Crenshaw. Foster, Crenshaw now under to White. And White puts a shot up. It's batted away. A return is up and good by Crenshaw. I'm a bit surprised to see 6-foot Kenny White playing inside against the 6'4s and 6'6s of Winfield, but he's handling it pretty well. Here's a big guy on the other end of the floor. Mark Saber misses the shot, but a foul called on the rebound against Charlie Fuller, 34. That's Fuller's first foul of the afternoon. And we'll go back to the other end of the floor. Winfield certainly having their foul troubles. Single personals against Saber, Fuller, and Poore. 3 fouls on Sowards. He has long since gone to the bench here in the first quarter. Dwayne Spencer can do no wrong. The score is 16-5. And Spencer has 8 points in the ball game. His second one is up. Bullseye. 17-5 the score. The lead goes out to 12. And the Demons, who started very, very slowly against Berkeley Springs and only caught fire in the fourth quarter, are doing it early here. There's a fine move by Steve Crozier. And they'll tell you that running layup is probably one of the toughest shots in basketball. 17-7 the score. We've got about a minute and a half to go in the first quarter. Woody O'Hara along with Bill O'Brien. AA championship game from Morgantown. Well, they batted around. Looked like 3 guys trying to pick up a rattlesnake. Crozier comes out with the ball. Into the corner they go with Mark Saber. And Crozier will shoot from downtown just off the mark. Bouncing rebound by White. He's down floor quickly to Crenshaw. Underneath, Foster loses the handle. Double dribbles. It'll come back the other way. Well, I've been talking, Bill, with some people around the Coliseum here this afternoon, and they've been talking about in all 3 divisions, probably there's only been maybe 1 ball game that wasn't a very exciting, well-played contest. That came much earlier in the tournament. On the steal, and the 2-pointer by Kenny White, and Northfork blowing it open here in the first quarter. 19-7 the score. That's not the first time, though, they've had the 12-point lead. 45 seconds remaining, first period. The shot partially blocked. Fuller could not get it. They fight for the rebound and a whistle.
Woody, it's obvious Northfork is doing everything well. They are fired up here in this opening period.
That's the second foul against Quentin Crenshaw, number 41. And the Demons settle back now as the Generals go to the foul line. It'll be Charlie Fuller, who has not yet scored.
Even though they're late in the first quarter, we'd like to remind you at halftime of this ball game, we'll have an interview with the Marshall Thundering Herd head basketball coach, Bob Zuffalato. That's at halftime of this ball game.
Well, Bobby took the Herd very high in the Southern Conference this year, went into tournament play, did not fare that well, but some exciting basketball coming from the Herd down through the years, I'm sure. Fuller makes a pair. 19-9 the score. Again, the 10-point lead with just over a half minute to go in the first quarter. Jennings Boyd's Bluefield, or rather Northfork Blue Demons. We're going to get that mixed up here several times during the game, probably.
Since you mentioned Bluefield, to let everybody know geographically, Northfork is pretty close to Bluefield, about 35 miles away at the tip end of McDowell County.
16 seconds to go. There hasn't been a foul called if you're watching Jennings Boyd here. The Demons are just spreading things out and setting up that final shot. Pass inside of White is batted away by Poor and picked up by the Generals. Having some trouble. Crozier, 1 second. The shot is away, but too late. It comes after the horn. So we've played 1 quarter in the AA championship game at Morgantown with the score Northfork 19, Winfield 9. Well, the ball game has been one of great excitement, Bill O'Brien. We've got 3 quarters of action to go here in the AA championship, and that 10-point deficit you see on the screen right now can be quickly made up, as the 22-3 Winfield Generals have proven down through the season.
Northfork, a very tall team, Woody, as we explained in the opening, 6'6", 6'5", and 6'4" up front. And if they can get their inside attack going, they cannot be counted out of this ball game.
Well, they trudged back out to the center of the floor. We had a lot of action, a lot of running basketball in the first quarter. And again, Matt Matthews will step in. He'll be going against Jesse Fields, 43. And again, the Generals take the tap. This is Mark Poor, and what a play! Foster got about 6 miles into the air, got a hand on the basketball, and rejected the layup attempt by Mark Poor. Well, this excitement to start off the second quarter has been typical of this ball game and typical of the meetings of these two down through the years. They seem to make it a habit for the state championship finals. The Winfield Generals find themselves down by 10, 19-9, and appear now to be going to get a little deliberate and set up their play phase of the ball game. I'm sure Chambers went over that in the huddle. The shot is no good by Fuller. The long tip taken outside. This is Kenny White, 13. Tries to feed it inside to Spencer, but the ball gets away. So we run to the other end. The big guy is Mark Saber, 14, out to Crozier. Now Poor, and the Generals set it up out front. Both teams playing outstanding basketball. There shouldn't be any nerves here today. These two have been here for quite a few times. Mark Poor out front with the basketball now, number 20. Back and forth across the baseline goes Saber, number 14. He's been open several times. They haven't been able to get it inside, though. Now the pass is forced in under, intended for Fuller, batted out of bounds. And we've got a Northfork substitution coming into the ball game. This is their first man off the bench, Kenny Brown, a 6'2 junior, number 45, averaging about 5 points a game. He will spell Kenny White.
Woody, to give you an idea, and to give our audience an idea of how well both these teams have been playing coming to this championship game, Northfork has won 10 out of their last 11 contests. The only loss during that string was to the regular season AAA champion Williamson by 2 points. And Winfield has won their last 12 ball games coming into here.
Well, in addition to the Winfield lineup he's been in before, number 24 is Jamie McKinney, and a foul called underneath on the shot. Kenny Brown makes his presence felt right away as he picks up his first personal, and it'll send Matt Matthews to the line. Matt is 1 for 2 on the afternoon, averaging 8.5 points per game. He'll have a couple of tries here. I think Matthew is afraid he's going to hit the roof here at the Coliseum. He shoots that free throw on a rope. Watch the line now. Whoop, zingo, and he missed that one. I knew we'd jinx him out of one, maybe. Not very much arch on the shot. 19-10 is the score. Northfork with the ball and the lead. The Blue Demons going for their 7th straight championship. From way outside, air ball by Spencer. Rebounded by the Generals. Good feed by Crozier. Can they get the shot? Saber does, and it falls. He needed that, a little bit of confidence. He's put up several shots and has had nothing fall yet.
That's only the 3rd field goal in the ball game the Generals have put down.
Foster a little upset. He's directing traffic out front. Now gets the ball on the left side of Fields. Back to Foster. You got to have a spark plug like that on any successful ball club. Takes it inside. His shot is up, but he was fouled. It'll be on McKinney, Jamie McKinney, number 24. And Kenny White comes back into the ball game. Everybody heads for the Northfork bench, but it'll be Kenny Brown coming out of there. It's kind of difficult to tell. From time to time, they look by the bench to get the advice of their coaching staff.
It was interesting, Woody, to talk to both the head coaches before we came on the air. Jennings Boyd, cool, calm, relaxed. And Ronnie Chambers admitted to me that he was very nervous. Sometimes that rubs off on the team.
I'm nervous too. How about you? Just being here.
Yeah.
Foster hits the first end. He's got another shot coming. He's got them both. Robert Foster with 4 points, and Northfork goes out to a 21-12 lead here in the ball game. 5:50 to go in the first half. A good acting job that time by White. No call. I believe I would have blown the whistle for him. It looked real good. Here's Crozier's shot, no good. Long rebound, the pass down intended for Spencer, and knocked out of bounds by Crozier. Nope, they say it's off the hands of Spencer. So we've seen some fine play defensively by guards on both teams today. Lots of hustle. They like to run. And you've got to pay the price to get where these two teams are today, that's for sure. Lots of sacrifices, lots of time. Here's Crozier. They still look inside for Saber. He's just being a pick in there right now. He's trying to screen for Charlie Fuller. Fuller now looks under. He goes in with a pass to Matthews. The tap up is good by Saber. Nope, they'll credit Matt Matthews with a 2-pointer. Saber got up, but I think wisely stayed away from the ball. It was hanging right on the rim. Underneath they go. The Blue Demons, and a good shot by Jesse Fields. It just seems Winfield goes down floor and works so long and hard for their shots, and the Demons come down in very quick order, put something in the hole. Just under 5 minutes to go here in the first half. A steal. Dwayne Spencer all the way. Could not get it. Could not get it. Here's White with a return. Kenny White with his 3rd 2-pointer of the afternoon. 25-14 the score. Northfork in the lead, coming up on the 4-minute mark in the first half. Charlie Fuller. Crozier. This is Jamie McKinney. McKinney, the 6th man on this Northfork, or rather the Winfield ball club. Fuller, and a collision outside on the pick. Saber will go to the foul line.
41 Blue, charge it in.
Quentin Crenshaw is charged with the personal. That's his 3rd. So he, like Dwayne Sowards of Winfield, 3 personal fouls in the ball game. Mark Poore, number 20, comes back into the ball game for Winfield. And Mark Saber, 2 and 2 from the line, has a field goal for 4 points, up there again for the Generals. (25-15). And unfortunately for Winfield, they've been hanging about 10 points shy for most of this first half. On the rebound, a foul called against Northfork. And Kenny Brown picks up his 2nd personal. So they fight their way through the final 4 minutes of this second quarter of play, with Northfork leading 25-15. And the Generals just battling back for all they're worth. Not very successful at the foul line of late are the Generals, and they fight for the rebound. Carrying the ball across the line is 14, Mark Saber. So Northfork will bring it in, but they'll face a good deal of pressure from Winfield. In it comes to Spencer. He's double teamed, trapped, gets it to White across the line. They go, and the steal, almost. Foster came up with the ball, and going across his back, Mark Poore. Really contesting that basketball, and that's what it's all about.
Both teams are giving it the maximum effort, no doubt about that. And you would expect that before the big crowd here for the showcase of the state's high school players.
This is Robert Foster at the line. His shot is good. He's 3 and 3 from the line today.
Yeah, Woody, it's interesting in looking at the teams that have made it here to the final 6. No really big stars, and Northfork is a good example. That second one missing. 4 out of their 5 starters are in double figures, but they all average 10 to 12 points each. So no big standouts, but good team play, and the same for the Generals.
You mentioned those coming here to the final 6, even the 16. I know that Sam Williams will tell us later on in our broadcast that they miss the Logan folks because they come by the busloads every year, and of course Willie Akers and his ball club did not make it in this year. The last field goal by Mark Saber, as we're talking over a little bit of action here, but you can see everything at home. Foul called coming down floor against Steve Crozier. That'll be his first. And Northfork will send Kenny Brown to the foul line. It's 26-17. That one-time 12-point lead has been cut now to 9. But Brown has a chance to shoot it back out to 10. Does not do it. His shot doesn't fall. They tap around underneath. And Winfield comes up with it, but Northfork slaps it out of bounds. So there'll be no break from the Generals this time as far as a fast break. Again, Foster lingers in the backcourt. He's number 21. Poore loses the ball, and the Demons come up with it. Good play. Fine shot, Jesse Fields. He shows us he's rather comfortable here in the Coliseum.
That is what you call a giant step.
Another steal. White comes down floor with the ball, and his layup attempt is foiled by Steve Crozier. Crozier picks up his second personal.
Number 12, White.
And Kenny White will have to do it the hard way.
And of course, you could hear under Woody the referee Bob Downey telling the official score right in front of us who committed the foul.
That's not good etiquette. Had I known he was going to speak at the time, I would have given way, surely.
Might call a T on you.
Kenny White will have to make his 2 the hard way. He's got the first half of it. 29-17, and very quickly that Northfork lead for the 3rd time today goes out to 12 points. White fails on the second attempt, and Winfield comes up with the basketball. Steve Crozier has a pair of field goals. This is a shot from the corner by Fuller, and he's got his first field goal. Charlie Fuller. And again, 10 points. We've seen that so much here in the first half. 2:40 to go, first half of play. Northfork 29-19. Kenny White wins his way across the top of the key. 31 is Spencer. Now Foster. On the near side is Jesse Fields. Winfield is not giving them a different defensive look, but the Demons are taking their time now. Rebounded by White, or rather Fields, and a foul called.
They've called it on Jesse Fields reaching in to get that basketball. That's his second personal.
We'll take it to the other end. Of course, all kinds of state high school basketball action. We have the AA game here for you. There'll be a single A game and a AAA championship game coming up on your public television stations around the state of West Virginia. So
and
lots of action.
Speaking of that, Woody, some stations along the line are replaying these games at different times. We ask you in your area to check your local television listing for the game and time on your channel of public broadcasting.
Second shot is no good by Charlie Fuller. He made the first one. 29-20, and again the 9-point deficit. Kenny White. One scoreboard here shows 8 minutes and 88 seconds to go, and the score is 188-188. That happens from time to time. One of the auxiliary scoreboards is malfunctioning.
At least it's close.
Right. 2:08 to go, first half. Matt Matthews picks up his first personal foul. Well, everybody's got one, and I guess Matthew felt like he was left out. At the line is Kenny Brown. His first point in the ball game makes it 30-20. Second shot, Brown off the front of the rim. And with the rebound is Kenny Brown. He'll go back to the line again. A foul call. It's on Mark Saber. Number 2 on Saber. And again, Brown goes to the foul line. I keep hearkening back to the opening ball game for Northfork against Berkeley Springs. Those two teams stayed within 4 or 5 points of one another for, I guess, 3.5 quarters of play. And then the Demons just forged out on top in the 4th quarter. So far in this one, Northfork has been able to stay 10-12 points ahead of Winfield as they're back out again by 12 now at 32-20. Brown makes both shots. And Winfield again fighting an uphill battle here in the state AA championship game. Well, the drive was just for practice by Jamie McKinney. A whistle before. And Kenny Brown is beginning to mix it up here in the ball game. I think he likes going to the foul line. He's caught up in the action here. He's picked up his 3rd personal foul. So he's been a very active part of this last minute or so of the first half of play. Matt Matthews hits on the shot as Jennings Boyd sends Henry Hall into the ball game, number 15. He'll replace Kenny Brown.
Hall is a 5'11" senior, and you know, next year is what Northfork was looking toward, Woody. They feel next year is going to be their big year, and they're going to only lose 4 out of their 12 players from this year's squad.
Well, I'm sure Jennings will be back in that case. Offensive foul called on the drive against Dwayne Spencer, his second. Dwayne comes out of that collision smiling, probably more discouraged with himself than anything else. He knew he did wrong. 1:47 to go here in the first half. Northfork leads 32-21. This is the AA championship. Bill O'Brien along with Woody O'Hara from the Coliseum in Morgantown. McKinney and a loop pass to Saber. He's among tall trees, but he's a big one himself. The shot won't fall, gets his own rebound, but he travels with it.
I've heard it said, Woody, for psychological reasons, that when you go into the locker room at halftime, you'd hate to be down by double digits. So it's important for the Generals to try to score here and get that 11-point lead that Northfork enjoys down to 9.
Well, they're trying their hardest because they have taken the ball away from the Blue Demons. Robert Foster could not get it in the 5 seconds. So the Generals will have it in on their end of the floor. Saber into Sauer into Crozier. Now this is McKinney, and it will not drop for him. They fight for the rebound off everyone's hands. And coming out with the ball, Jesse Fields. Chasing it down in the corner, Dwayne Spencer. Back outside, they go to Hall, and we're trying to pick up out of our left ear some of the instructions from the Northfork bench. They're shouting all kinds of information out there. It sounds to me like they're building a bomb or something. I've never heard such technical lingo in a basketball game.
But all that means is 4 corners.
Right. Save it for about 50 seconds and shoot the last one, I guess. 51 seconds to go in the first half. Northfork's Bobby Foster out front being chased. This is Hall. Back to Foster, and the clock winds down to 40 seconds remaining. Foster on the fine pick by Dwayne Spencer, and a foul called. McKinney going after the basketball, picks up his second personal, and if you don't pop him from way out, I guess he'd take his chances from the foul line, Bill.
As we're waiting for those foul shots, a reminder we're 37 seconds away from halftime, and at that time we'll have an interview with the head marshal, Thundering Herd basketball coach Bob Zuffalato. That was taped earlier in the week, so we hope that you'll keep tuned. And then, of course, the second half to this championship game.
Foster with 1, Foster with 2. 34-21. That, I think, the biggest lead. At 13, a collision. McKinney and White. White making a good recovery. Looked like he's going out for the university gymnastics team. Did a backward roll and springing right back up. A handspring onto his feet again.
Bunch of substitutes now for Northfork. Michael Boyd, the coach's son, wearing number 55, is into the ball game. Mark Glenn, 5'10 junior, comes in. George Peoples, a 5'11 junior, is also inserted into the lineup.
That'll bring out Fields, Foster, and Spencer. And to the line goes Jamie McKinney. I don't know why I put that foul down against McKinney. I would guess it was against Kenny White, his first.
I did the same thing you did.
34-22. Again, the 12-point Northfork lead. McKinney with a chance to cut it down to 11. Cannot do it. 29 seconds to go first half. Kenny White comes down with a basketball, and rather deliberately so. They'll spread it out again. Crozier trying to draw the foul, number 11 or number 12 there, wiping up the floor. No call. Hall, I'll make that Boyd outside. That's Jennings Boyd's boy. Turnaround jumper inside is good by George Peoples. And an almost a steal. Almost a steal just at the buzzer by Michael Boyd, the 5'10 junior. As the horn signifies the end of the first half of play, the Northfork Blue Demons have done something here in the championship game that they were unable to do in the semifinal contest with Berkeley Springs, and that is to break out to what should be considered a rather comfortable halftime lead. We've got a lot of activity at halftime and a big second half of action. And the score at halftime is Northfork. The Demons of Northfork in quest of their 7th straight AA championship state title, leading by 14, 36-22 at the halftime. And they have the scoreboard and the stat sheet as well, as we'll take a look as we go on into second half action. And here with the play-by-play call of state championship basketball for the voice of the South. The mouth of the South is another guy, I think. But from WJLS Radio in Beckley, Bill O'Brien in second half action. Bill?
Thank you, Woody. We're ready now to tip it up in the center circle, and Northfork has it. They're in the blue uniforms. They are the ones going for the record-tying championship you've heard so much about, and they've got a 14-point lead, 36-22. We'll identify these players for you. That is Foster, 21. It's intercepted right there by Crozier. The little lefty goes up, banks it in. Steve Crozier now with 6 points. In the first half, Northfork 55% shooting from the floor, 11 out of 20 field goals. Winfield 25% shooting from the floor, 6 out of 24. Here's the shot attempt put up. No good by Crenshaw, but he's fouled as he goes. And the foul is on Saber. That's his third.
Saber, the leading scorer in the ball game for Winfield with 7 points. Picks up his third personal foul, so he'll join teammate Dwayne Sowards, who is starting the second half in the 3 foul category.
And Crenshaw also playing with 3 fouls, puts in the free throw, 4 points for him. Kenny Brown, the other member of the Demons, in foul difficulty, although he's not starting now. Second one missing, as you could see, and here come the Generals in the white uniforms. Number 12 is Steve Crozier, 6'2 senior. Fuller will put it up. Good. Charlie Fuller now with 7 points. He and Saber, each with 7. Here's the all-court pressure, but it's broken. Kenny White passing it off. Here's the shot by Crenshaw, just missing from in close, and the rebound, the tall guy, Saber. So the Generals trying to get back into it. They'll back out with Crozier, their quarterback. Sowards, that's an air ball. And the Blue Demons have an injury. Coming up limping is Quentin Crenshaw, the 6'2 junior.
And that's a little bit of irony, because the young man who shot the ball, Sowards, is the one who has the questionable ankle right now. He did not hurt it a great deal in the first half, however, because he only played in the first quarter of the game. Coming out of the ball game is Crenshaw, and in for his position is Kenny Brown. Back into the ball game, showed 3 points in the first half.
This is Kenny White, number 13, Foster, and now with it is Dwayne Spencer, an outstanding athlete. He can play any position on the basketball floor. White passing it off around the horn. They go in. Fields from outside, and with some English that time, Jesse Fields scores. He's the team's leading scorer at 12.1. 39-26. The Blue Demons with a lead, and we played a minute and a half. You're looking at Ronnie Chambers, the Winfield coach. His general team looking to get back into the ball game. They've got the height, and now they've got to get their shooting back. In close, the short turnarounder, just missing that time by Matthews. And here come the Demons. They love to run. Spencer will maneuver from 15. And now we'll get the home team. Fuller, number 34, working with the basketball. A 13-point advantage. Northfork has led the entire game. The long one by Crozier missing, but underneath the pushing off foul has been detected on Foster. That's his third. So 3 members of Northfork's lineup right now with 3 personals. 2 of them are in the ball game, but the Blue Demons are deep in talent, Woody.
They do indeed have a great deal of talent up and down the lineup, both on the floor and the bench. And the Blue Demons like to live dangerously because it seems every time they go out, they get into foul trouble.
Around that zone, the Generals pass it, trying to find an open place, and Kenny Brown tips it out of bounds. A hustling Blue Demon team. It's really been something to see the transformation of Northfork this year. We'll tell you more in a moment. Right now, the Generals trying to work for the open shot. Back out front they go again. Crozier passing left side. Fuller double teamed. Back out front, and the lefty Crozier shoots. Won't quite go down. Look at the fight for that ball, and a foul has been called on White. Kenny White second.
You can hear Jennings Boyd over here, Bill, shouting at his ball club, and oddly enough, he's shouting the basics. Get your hands up. Get between him and the basket. They've got a great deal of natural ability, but I'm sure a lot of that has been taught by the gentleman on the bench. Right there he is in his 14th year as head coach. 282 wins against 59 losses. Not a bad record.
That's almost 83%. 84% if you count his 10 years as a junior varsity coach down there. Saber makes the first free throw. He's now made 4 out of 5. And this one also good. So Saber has 9 points. Again, the full court pressure. Broken with good passing. The Blue Demons ahead 39-28. Fields, cross-court pass. The long one is there. Beautifully done by Jesse Fields. 9 points for him for the Blue Demons. We'll have the halftime statistics the first break we get here. There's been plenty of action. The Generals are safely in the attack court, and here comes Fuller's jumper. Charlie Fuller hits it. That's 9 points for him. 4 minutes, 50 seconds to play. Period number 3 for the AA West Virginia Championship. Fast break try is blocked beautifully by Saber. And here come the Generals. They're not quitting. Crozier crashes into a Blue Demon player, and they're going to call the personal foul on Kenny White. That's his third.
Well, the momentum now, if you can call it that, swinging in favor of the Winfield Generals as they have begun to peck away at a bit of that Northfork composure that's become so traditional down through the years. They're running with the basketball. Northfork and Jennings Boyd would like to talk it over and get their heads together and get their collective talents together on the floor.
All right, Woody, while we have the break, let's take a look at statistics from the first half. We gave you the field goal shooting at the line for the teams. Northfork hit 14 out of 21. That is 67%. Winfield 10 out of 16. That's 62.5%. And there you see the individual scoring for the champion Blue Demons. Very well balanced, and Coach Jennings Boyd, Woody, likes this. He likes for a lot of folks to get into the scoring column.
Well, they're keeping right along with the feeling that there are no great, tremendous standout individuals in the tournament. He's certainly got a team's team, if you want to call it that. Spencer led the way with 9 points, Foster and White 7 apiece, Fields with 5, Crenshaw and Brown 3 points, and Peoples came in a substitute role with 2 points in the first half. As you said, a good shooting performance by them in the first half, 55%, and I know any coach has to be pleased with that. It's only when you're down in the bracket as Winfield was with only 25% shooting average in the first half. Leading the Generals, Saber with 7 points, Matthews 5 and Fuller 5. That, as we say, the first half scoring. They have tacked on a few extras since that point. But an exciting ball game, and the Generals are back to within 9 points. They have the ball in, and again, Bill O'Brien.
Thank you, Woody O'Hara. We've got the Irish connection again in this one. Generals, very well-coached, well-disciplined squad. They have won 22 games and have lost only 3. Northfork 18-8. But most of the schedule, Northfork plays AAA schools. Here's the long one, missing by Crozier, tipped. And it's into the hands of the Blue Demons, Jesse Fields. Northfork in the traveling blue with red numerals trimmed in white. Looking around that zone that Winfield is using. And we've got 3 seconds to call. One of the very few turnovers, and you know, Northfork might have set a tournament record. In their preliminary game, they had only 4 turnovers.
That, to my count, is only 2 against the Demons, 2 each way. So this ball game has been free of the turnover call both ways.
The Generals work with the ball out front. That's Sowards passing underneath, and Fuller puts it in. Charlie Fuller with 11 points now to this moment. It's 41-32, favor Northfork with 3.5 minutes left. Here's Spencer. It will not go, but a foul.
You saw on the other end of the floor, Fuller worked for his shot that time. We don't mean to degrade him in any way at all, but you'll find if Fuller gets down floor ahead of the pack and has an opportunity to get that long pass and get set for his shot, he's a lot more successful. He has been here in the second half, but that time, circling in under, a good fine turnaround jump shot. Fuller is coming out here in the second half of play and could be trouble. We've got a 9-point ball game.
Speaking of 9, that's how many points Spencer has right now. He is 3 out of 5 at the charity stripe. Saber was called for his 4th personal foul, so it's going to hurt the Generals. Brown comes out of the ball game. Foster is back in. Robert Foster, their starting point guard. Ready again. Spencer's got this one. That's double figures for him. 42-32, a 10-point lead as the Generals try to stay within shouting distance. As we're late in the 3rd quarter of play at the WVU Coliseum in Morgantown, the 1980 AA championship game on West Virginia Public Broadcasting. Tipped away by a hustling Blue Demon squad, but there's Crozier to get the ball back. Passing right quarter court, that's Jamie McKinney, and now back on the near side. McKinney comes and gets it. He's loose, and here's the jump shot, just missing. Rebound by Fuller is good. So the Demons in possession, but their lead has been cut to 8. It was 14 at halftime. And we're at the Winfield end of the floor, and their cheering section is on their feet, trying to get their team to play tough defense. Fields, Foster from long range, no good. Rebound is down to McKinney. And here come the Generals. They're back in it if they can score here. Underneath, tipped away, and a good steal by Quentin Crenshaw. The Demons are cool, calm, and collected. They don't buckle under pressure, Woody.
And they, just like on the other end of the string from a puppeteer, Boyd hollered, slow it down, and that's exactly what they're doing. Don't try to run with a ball club that's catching up on you. Try to slow it down, regain your composure. Now Foster's being pinched out front by Sowards. That's somewhat of a mismatch.
2 minutes, 7 seconds to go on a turning 3rd quarter clock. And an 8-point advantage for the defending AA champion Northfork Blue Demons. Give and go, Foster. He does not take the shot. There's Spencer. Back out. They're trying to get the Generals to get out of that zone. And they will be successful any moment now. All these Blue Demons can handle the ball very nicely. Northfork has not lost to a AA school in years. We will give you those stats when we get the opportunity. But they have a phenomenal record. They've won 84 straight games over AA competition. They have won their last 41 tournament games. And here's Spencer, layup, blocked. Oh, what a play. Matt Matthews with one of the great defensive plays in this ball game. And now the Generals have it back, trailing by 8 and 1:09 to go in the 3rd quarter. On the left side of quarter court, down to the middle, McKinney cannot move in. Crozier, their point guard. Here's Fuller making the shot. Are they going to allow it? I don't think so. Calling charging on Fuller, according to referee Jim Murray.
Well, that's Fuller's second personal, and it had the Winfield crowd all decked out in green, I might say, Mr. O'Brien, on their feet, but it doesn't go.
Still got my St. Patty's pin. This whole week we like to celebrate. Oh, look at that block. Crenshaw had his shot rejected. Nevertheless, the Blue Demons will get the ball on their end of the floor. One of our 4 camera locations showing you some of the activity here inside the huge WVU Coliseum. Foster outside, looking. He was tightly guarded, but he gets his pass away. This is Crenshaw, or check that, Spencer. Good! A 22-footer by Dwayne Spencer. 12 points for him with half a minute left. It's 44-34. An important basket for the Blue Demons. Generals, high post bounce pass. Fuller fakes 2 out, and now Crozier gets the shot, but 3 seconds to call first.
Bill, we're watching the other end of the floor of the basket Northfork will be headed for right now. And behind, with his arms folded, no expression on his face at all, a young man who matured a great deal in his first year out of high school, Russell Todd. We'll be getting a shot of Russell a little bit later. A fine short jumper by Robert Foster. He shows 9 in the game.
5 seconds left. Here's the Generals' attempt, plucked out of the air, and a foul with 3 seconds remaining. The foul has been detected on Dwayne Sowards, and I have him with 4. That is the case. So the 2 big guns for the Generals are in foul difficulty. Sowards, who, by the way, has not scored a point. He's their leading scorer, averaging almost 21 a ball game, has not tallied yet. And Saber, their big rebounder. Here's the long pass that goes out of bounds.
Just out of the end zone.
So that'll take care of the third quarter here from the Coliseum in Morgantown. With the score, Northfork 46, Winfield 34.
Well, that scoreboard shows a 12-point difference in something that Winfield has been fighting throughout the ball game. 13 points, 46-34. Northfork going into the 4th quarter of play, and the wheels are turning in that Winfield huddle.
Chance right now. If you're in a man, I want you to go one bar low. I'll tell you what to run for. This is going to be 1-2-2. Let's run. Let's run poke if we're in a 1-2-2. Or if they're in a 2-3.
Hey, Charlie, you're on Dwayne's side. You're on Dwayne's side.
Keep moving. Let's go. Ready? Defense. Come on.
They're psyched. They're psyched, Bill O'Brien, and they're ready for a big 4th quarter of play. As you said at the outset of this broadcast, they too met Northfork last year and came out on the short end of it. And I know that the senior-laden Winfield Ball Club has that in mind right now. They don't want to go out losing to Northfork, but it's going to be an uphill fight. 4th quarter action again, Bill O'Brien.
Thank you, Woody. Jesse Fields and Matt Matthews jumping up, and the Generals get control of the basketball, trailing 46-34. The Generals down by as many as 14 points, got within 8. Now they're trying to shave that margin again. They work it in closely, and here's the turnaround jumper by Matthews. That's 7 for him. Blue Demons working against full court pressure. Quentin Crenshaw 21 to Foster, rather 41 to Foster, who was wearing 21. That one's plucked out of the air on a good defensive play, and Saber winds up with a basketball. And we've got a foul. Good sportsmanship, but that's the 4th personal foul on point guard Robert Foster. So key members of both squads into foul trouble in the early stages of the last period.
Foster picks up his 4th. Dwayne Sowards with 4 for Winfield. And I tell you, Northfork will have a tough time replacing Foster in that lineup. He's got to stay in there.
Out of bounds play, almost getting one of our cameras, one of our 4 positions.
7:19 remaining in the ball game. Very early, and Jennings Boyd watching intently from the sidelines.
Here it comes. That one misses by Sowards. He has yet to score, and the Blue Demons are on the run. Nobody there to catch that pass. Quentin Crenshaw thought he had a trailer on the play, and nobody was there. 7:10 remaining in the ball game, and Winfield has called for a timeout. Here's Woody O'Hara.
Public television lists the 1980 West Virginia Boys High School Basketball State Tournament is made possible in part by public service grants from A&T Pontiac Buick in Bluefield, K&K Television, B&M Coal Company, and the First Clark National Bank of Northfork. Those fine folks are very interested that you all see the 1980 tournament coming from Morgantown. And Bill, I know that we'll be talking later in the tournament with Sam Williams, the executive secretary of the State Secondary Schools Activities Commission. And the tournament goes back to Charleston next year, and it appears we'll stay there for quite some time. And then there may be a chance that we'll have a rotating Huntington, Morgantown, Charleston, but we don't know about that. The board is expected to vote on that very soon. Let's go into the Northfork huddle and listen to their head coach. Well, they're breaking it up right now. Let's go.
As we get down to the late stages of the ball game, we will key in on those huddles to try to get a snatch of strategy. Both these coaches, though, Woody, as you've mentioned, mostly stick to fundamentals. You're not going to learn much new.
And I have no fear of either of these coaches. Last year, we would have done well to pass a note saying, "Coach, you're on the air." But no fear of Chambers and Boyd.
All right, the Generals work it in, tipped away, beautiful defensive play. It was started that time by Crenshaw, and now the Demon guards, Foster 21, working with a basketball. 6 minutes, 52 seconds remaining, and a 10-point Blue Demon advantage. The Generals looked like they were going to go down in the first half, but they stayed with it and have made a ball game out of this. Northfork has played exceptional basketball here in the last half of the season. Beckley had them by 30 points. Here's a jump shot missing that time by Spencer, and stepping on the end line that time was Fuller. Looked like he had possession of the ball. And now Northfork wants a timeout. So we'll get a chance to look at things from the end court. And let's see whose huddle we'll look at this time.
I tell you what, it might be well to go into the Northfork huddle, because Jennings Boyd was not very happy at all when the timeout was called. The call had gone up for steal some time. Spencer took the shot. Let's see what they're talking about now.
The other big one standing right back under the basket. Matthews, or whichever one is back there, until you make him take one man. Until you make him take one man. Now he's just standing back there. You all spread out, keep that ball moving just like you started. Now when he comes out and takes one man, then you go to your two-guard front. Understand? Keep the ball moving. Everybody move. As long as he's down under there, then try to keep it moving without going to the basket. But once he matches up with somebody, then go ahead and run your offense and take it to the basket. Defensively, come back into. Let's go. Okay. Hey.
That man commands attention, doesn't he?
I tell you what, I'm glad I'm not in high school these days. You've almost got to be an MIT graduate to understand what's going on. It's become a very technical game indeed, as has football, I'm sure. The Demons back out on the floor along with the Generals. 7.5 minutes to go, and it's a 10-point game. Northfork on top. Bill?
All right, it comes out deep to Foster. Man for man being played defensively. This is Fields, 43, working with a basketball. Passing back out, asking for rotation. That's Spencer. Fields again. All these fellows, excellent athletes. And of course, they work at basketball, not only during the regular season, but during the summer leagues also. Northfork with an excellent summer program. Spencer again in the U part of the WVU that is emblazoned across the center of the floor here at the Coliseum. And we've got the foul called on the Generals. Kenny White's going to get up with some assistance. He's okay.
Kenny took a cartwheel against the scorer's table across, not the scorer's table, the press table. Lots of tournament officials and the press media across the way. There's Jennings Boyd wearing his Think 7 button, as are all of his assistants.
Yeah, when we saw them last time, they had a large banner. It said almost 7, West Virginia. And that has been the theme. Think 7. All right, Kenny White, who has 7 points today, and now 8, 2 out of 3 at the line. His average is 10 points per contest. White, 6-foot junior, will be returning, along with 3 other of the starting lineup. So he makes a pair of them. And with 5:48 to play in the ball game in this championship for AA in West Virginia, it's a 48-36 lead for Northfork. As the southern part of the state taking all 3 championships last year and trying to get the AA this year.
I know some northern teams fell fast this year, Bill. I might add, in about 2.5 minutes, those are the first 2 scored by Northfork here in the 4th quarter.
Working with the ball is Steve Crozier. Almost taken by Spencer, and the turnover caused by Spencer, and a timeout Generals. 48-36.
Ronnie Chambers will take his ball club now down to the bench and talk things out. The Winfield Generals find themselves down still by 12 points in the contest. Let's go into the huddle. Let's see what's happening.
Try to draw the charging foul when they come through there, all right? Get in front of them.
Hey, Steve, you can't stand out there and hold the blooming ball.
Poke it 3 times. Because you want poke it 2. Poke it 2 is what I want if they're in the zone. If they go main, then I want to run Dunbar through, or run Buffalo through. Okay? If we're in a man, we're going to go Buffalo. Run it through. In the zone, we're going to go poke it 2. Take chances out here in the main.
Hey, you got to get the hand, Steve. You got to dog him all the time.
You got to stay on him, all right? We're sitting in the foul line here now. Let's go. We got to run it and get it down the floor. All right. Now, run this thing in quick. You might hit forward down there. We're not down here. Let's go. Come on.
3 is all about anyway. That's what they were calling. We'll go with Buffalo 3. They're hoping for the to cause some fouls in underneath. They want to bring the ball inside against Northfork, knowing full well that the Demons have Foster in trouble. Of course, he's an outside man, but Crenshaw shows 3 fouls. White shows 3. And here we go with some full court pressure. Northfork comes in with the ball. It goes out. Who owns it? Well, it'll be Northfork again. Bill O'Brien.
Thank you, Woody O'Hara. Foster to trigger. He's having trouble. Gets it in just in time to White. Kenny White can play forward or guard, and you can see him maneuver the ball as a guard right now nicely. In the middle, that's Crenshaw, 41. The spread out defense, the Generals using almost a steal, but the hustling Sowards couldn't get it, and look at that shot. Nicely done by Spencer. Spencer, 14 points to lead his team, and it's 50-36, and the Demons tie their longest lead of 14, and it comes with 4:50 to play in the championship game. Sowards, that's Crozier, will take it. He's fouled. And the foul is detected on Spencer. That's his 3rd.
Don't know how many times in the ball game this afternoon the Generals have been just maybe a half step behind the right shot. That time Crozier got the long pass from Sowards and could have easily put it up, but chose to go with the floor. 1 dribble. By that time he'd drawn a crowd. That has been the problem so far in the ball game.
Crozier averaging 13 points per game, misses his first foul shooting chance of the day. He totaled 6 points, now 7. 50-37, a 13-point lead for the Blue Demons, who have the ball right here. They try a fast break, but instead, oh, that's where the regiment comes in. They could have taken that shot, but instead they work it in closer, and Crenshaw goes up and he's fouled. So Quentin Crenshaw will be shooting free throws. Matthews is called for his 2nd personal. A fine crowd for this championship game. What's the seating capacity here? Over 13, I'd say.
Got close to 14 capacity, and we've got a good crowd of around 7 or 8 here this afternoon for this AA championship. Of course, the single A game coming up this afternoon, the big AAA contest later tonight. It will not necessarily be aired in your area in that order or that frequency in some cases, but you'll be able to see tournament basketball on public television in your area. Check your local listings.
Crenshaw makes them both. He has 6 points, and here's Sabers scoring on the Generals' end of the floor. So it's 52-39 with the dust clearing. Here come the Blue Demons. Oh, a give-and-go play underneath. Crenshaw missing. And the Generals are back to it. 4 minutes and 14 to go in the ball game. Crozier with a good move to get away from his defensive assignment. And Fuller puts it in. Charlie Fuller from long range, and that's 15 points for him to lead his team. 52-41. And the Demons aren't safely home yet. They are not going to let up. They have worked too hard to get where they are right now. And for that championship, which would be their 7th consecutive. That's Spencer, and they're going to call steps on it.
One of the few turnovers in this championship game, and as we pointed out earlier, these two teams have locked up here before in the state championship, so no reason for nerves.
You'll say Jennings Boyd is not going to have much fingernail left after this game. High post, Saber has it tipped away, and look at that steal. The aggressive play of Fields, or check that, of White. And underneath, we've got the out-of-bounds play going to the Generals. Timeout.
3.5 minutes to go in the ball game, and a hurried call for a timeout from the North Fork bench. The Demons have not done well here in the first quarter, and looking back, the ball game against Berkeley Springs, that's the quarter in which they really put on a blast to come out ahead of Berkeley Springs and win their way into this tournament ball game.
Well, you're looking at the North Fork cheering squad, and let's give you their names. Debbie Verano is the head. Audrey Smith, Annie Hickman, Angela Bushner, Regina McKinley, Tanya Page, and Tammy Kosa do a great job in getting their folks fired up. And over the years, the North Fork fans have had plenty to cheer about.
They have indeed, Bill, and certainly these young ladies are no different than the fine ones we've seen from North Fork down through the years, as they have really been bringing their ball club into great efforts, not only the state tournament, but along the season as well. The cheerleaders from Winfield are out there now. They got a gang of them, too.
And we'll give you their names. Paige Carney is the head. Karen Strait, Susan Hofstetter, Regina Phillips, Betty Starkey, Carrie Toth, Robin Hill, Stephanie Burdette, Frankie Bowles, Dana Gatewood, Robin McLean, and Chris Vallandingham.
And now the principals, the players are back on the floor. Bill, take it from here with 3:25 to go in the ball game.
And an 11-point Blue Demon lead. The Generals will have something to say about that. Here's the shot forced up, but a foul detected that time as Sowards was determined to take that shot from the left baseline. And Crenshaw gets his 4th personal. Crenshaw and Foster each with 4. White, Spencer, and Brown each with 3 for the Blue Demons. Sowards, unbelievably, has not scored a point. Average of 20.8. He's a 6'4 senior, and he'll get 2 opportunities right here. Now he's on the board. That's been the key so far. The Generals' leading scorer, not 100%, admittedly. Given it all he's got, he gets them both. He's got plenty of metal there in that ankle area that Woody told you about earlier. 52-43. And North Fork works with a basketball. Left corner, Crenshaw lobs it back out front where Kenny White controls and quarterbacks his squad. Fields holding the ball now and asking for rotation. Spencer, number 31. White again. Give and go. Fields, spinning shot is not there. And the Generals have it. Fuller controls the ball with 2:51 remaining. And if they score here, it's a 7-point game. In close for the spinning shot. 3 seconds first, though, is the call. So a critical turnover on Winfield, Woody.
If we can get a shot at number 22, Dwayne Sowards, he has given it 1,000% right now, and he is not at all healthy or feeling well. He's on defense now, but he's having trouble keeping up with his faster North Fork ball players. Quite an effort by the young man. Is some sort of an award should go his way no matter what happens.
Spencer for the layup. Let's see if they count it. There has been a foul also.
And Spencer went around Sowards that time. Dwayne just simply couldn't keep up with him. He's having trouble with that ankle.
So Mr. Murray says the field goal is good, plus a charging foul on Spencer. So that's 16 points for Dwayne Spencer and his 4th personal foul. And we'll go down to the Generals' end of the floor, where Steve Crozier will be shooting.
That's 5 fouls on Foster. Foster came up limping as well. He'll be coming out of the ball game as the official is being brought to the scorer's table to make him aware of the situation.
So what they've done is they've given the foul to Foster instead of the player I told you, and that will foul him out of the ball game.
Now Foster is pointing to the official. Now they're trying to square things away. We've got a mic on the official. 31. Okay.
Yeah, that's the way I saw it.
Foul is on Spencer instead, so Foster stays in the ball game. Poor Robert was a little more than just slightly concerned about that call. He was appealing to everyone on the floor.
Crozier showing 7 points. 1 for 2 at the stripe today, is ready now at the line to the left. The lefty puts it in. Winfield starts all seniors. Crozier again. Generals get the ball, or do they? Northfork will get the basketball, and a 54-44 advantage for the Blue Demons. Double teaming Spencer. He got out of that sandwich. Now Fields into Foster. He switched hands, but it wouldn't go down for him, and Fuller comes off with a loose basketball. So with a 10-point edge, the Generals need to go to work here with 2 minutes and 7 seconds left in the championship game. Oh, what a shot. Crozier scoring. He has 10 points. And they have called a violation on the inbounds against the Blue Demons. Did you catch it, Woody? I think he stepped on the end line.
They violated the end line on the toss in, and they could cut this lead now down to 6 points if they could do something here.
They'll go away. That's Saber with it. Now to the corner. Crozier, their hot man, puts it up. That was a prayer that would not go down, but look at this muscle shot by Sowards. First, though, 3 seconds.
I think rather than 3 seconds, Bill, Sowards carried the ball out of bounds as he went deep under for the rebound.
It was definitely crowded under there.
Down by 8 points. A minute 54 to go. A lot can happen in that time.
Northfork still in the backcourt. They have 10 seconds to get it across the midcourt divider. They do so, and here's Spencer going up for the short one. Look at that rebound. That's Jesse Fields. 13 points for him, or check that, 11 points. 56-46, and the Demons get the ball again. They're going to play volleyball with it. Fast break, 3-on-1, Spencer! It's good, and a foul, and that may be the clincher right there. Foster and Spencer.
Oh, it's good. 1 shot.
I'm telling you, they're phenomenal. Just some great athletic talent on the floor. 2 turning points. That one might have been one for Northfork. Back a couple of times down floor when Winfield was down by 8, had a chance to cut it to 6 and failed to do it. So we may have seen 2 turning points here within a minute of time, Bill.
Last year on the broadcast, I made the statement about Northfork. They were the New York Yankees of West Virginia basketball. They took that statement, Woody, and put it in their program. And this program, let me tell you, is something else. It's called Color Us Proud. And a lot of colleges don't have something this nice. Not only that, though, they are very proud of the fact in Northfork that they are the basketball capital of West Virginia with their consecutive championships. And they do take it very, very seriously.
May I have this copy? I'd like to take it with me.
Would you like an autograph?
You have been immortalized in it. Just go ahead and autograph that copy for me. There you see it on the backs of their warm-ups. The basketball capital of West Virginia, Northfork. And that star, is that strategically located, or is that just about geographically right?
That's right at about the belly button of the state, I'd say. It needs to be down a little lower. Almost the tip end of the state, in fact.
A minute 23 seconds to go. 1980 AA championship, and the Northfork Blue Demons in a familiar spot, leading by 12 with just a minute 23 to go. They'll go back to the foul line, and we've got a minute 23's worth of action, and as I said, a lot can happen in that time, but Northfork has been taking better advantage of it.
Spencer makes the culmination of the 3-point play. 19 total points for him. You were looking at the Winfield cheering section above that basket, even though you saw the Northfork sign. In close. Here's the shot put up and in nicely by Matthews. So they answer that basket quickly, but it's still an 11-point lead for the Demons with 1:06 left. And a timeout is requested by Northfork. Telling you about how Northfork evolved. When they came in to play Beckley the last time, Beckley beat him by 30 points. That was the worst defeat a Jennings Boyd team had suffered in his 14 years of coaching. That made them 6-6, Woody. Then they went to work. They got their act together. They lost only 2 more games the rest of the year. One of those was to AAA Williamson. The other was to Bluefield, another AAA school. And they have been able to get their act together, obviously, when it counted.
Well, we've been reading a lot about this ball club. Somebody's trying to sneak into that Northfork huddle, I think. They're trying to find out exactly what kind of strategy might be going on over there. Might be picking up a few pointers. Who knows?
What'd you say his name was? Catlett?
The fellow with the thinning hair there on the right of your screen. We'll be talking with him later in the tournament. He's the Mountain in Mountaineer basketball. Gail Catlett, his lovely daughter Krista. They're taking in the game today. Hi, Gail. Get him to wave at the camera and everybody in Hedges.
Supposed to say hi, Mom, aren't you? He put on a fine clinic in this morning's session. This is young Mr. Boyd working with the basketball. Michael, 5'10" and a junior. By the way, we will have the winning coach on and the ceremonies following the conclusion of this game. A minute to play, and Boyd will inbound the basketball. And a foul has been detected, and it's on Sowards.
That's all for him. Dwayne Sowards playing subpar basketball because he was just physically down here today. Did not play a great deal. Had 3 quick fouls in the first quarter. Rode the bench for the second quarter. Picked up 2 free throws here in the final stanza of the ball game. So Dwayne Sowards, a senior, ends his basketball career with the Generals, averaging 20.8 coming into the state tournament this year. A fine, fine young man. We've seen him play quite a few times.
You're looking at Bob Downey, and now we're switching to our end camera where you can see some of the crowd and both the benches. And the gentleman with the shotgun mic right there toward the right side. 59-48, Northfork leads, and it's amazing. Northfork, as we told you, with 41 straight tournament victories, their last loss being in the 73 sectional when Gary defeated them. And of course, Gary does not exist anymore. They have been consolidated with Welch. Northfork, before this game, 84 straight games. They had not lost since January of 1971. That's the last time for that to happen over AA opposition.
You know, that end shot we had from the end camera, if he can swing around right behind him as a young man standing there that is certainly more than interested in this ball game. We'll see if we can get a shot of him before it's over. Right up against the wall, right behind our cameraman. Now to see him shooting for him now. Now he's got a shot of him, I think. He's been sitting there signing autographs throughout the game.
Mark Glenn missing at the foul line, and now the Generals are ready. It's Mr. Todd.
Russell Todd, one of the best out of Northfork.
At the Generals' end of the floor, a field goal has been put up by Charlie Fuller, and they're going to allow it, plus a foul after the shot.
Fuller with 6 field goals here in the second half. He's caught fire. 17 points total, and he has a chance to add on to that. Mark Poore makes his second or third appearance in the ball game. He'll replace Mark Faber. And I guess the Generals have their speed lineup in there now with 52 seconds to go in the ball game.
Well, they're not going to give him that field goal, Fuller. They'll give him 1-1 instead.
Then I correct my statement, 5 field goals in the second half.
Well, I'm the one that saw the two fingers make that significant. Yeah, we're ready again. Fuller gets them both that way. So 59-50 with 49 seconds left. Boyd bounce passing. Glenn has the ball, and he is fouled by Poore. So Mark Glenn will toe the mark once more. Mark, a 5'10" junior and an average of 5.1 on the year, and he will be a guard for the future. Northfork will graduate Dwayne Spencer and Robert Foster off their lineup, but they've got Kenny Brown and Mark Glenn and Michael Boyd who can easily take their places for next year. Ready is Glenn, and he misses again. That's Fuller getting the rebound sky high. And the Generals trailing by 9 points will try to get some back. There it is. That's McKinney scoring. We have half a minute left and a timeout wisely called for by the Blue Demons. They were having trouble getting the ball in.
Well, all the excitement seems just seconds away here, Bill O'Brien, as the Blue Demons are in quest of their record tying, and we don't mean state record tying, we mean national record tying, 7th consecutive state championship. Central High and Providence, Rhode Island also turned that trick many years ago. A flood of substitutions coming into the ball game. Jennings Boyd and his coaches are standing there, his assistants, and he'll have some last-minute instructions for them, I'm sure, just ahead of the break.
No, we don't need another shot. Get that ball inbounds. We don't have any timeouts now. Everybody line up. You got it at 12, half court. You got it at everybody line up and break. Everybody line up and break and get that ball in. And fellas, move it to the open man now. We don't need any shots. Let's go.
Well, you heard it. They don't need another shot. They really don't need very much more. Leading by 7 points with just 33 seconds to go. The Demons will bring the ball in, and let's see what they do with it, Bill.
It's into Spencer. Spencer needs help, and he's fouled. Foul on the Generals, and White holding his left ankle.
You never like to see an injury, but in Jennings Boyd's case, 'tis better it happened now with 28 seconds to go, leading by 7, than in the first quarter. I'm sure he's all right. Kenny White walking it off as he heads for the foul line. White shows 9 points so far in the ball game. Quite a competitor. He's a junior. He's one that you failed to mention coming back next year.
Yeah, it'll be White and Crenshaw and Fields, Brown, Glenn, Boyd, Peoples, Harmon, William Foster, the sophomore. Ready is White. Look at that rebound by Fields, short. And another foul has been called, 26 seconds remaining. 59-52. And the foul has been called on Matthews. That's his third. You know, with Northfork winning all those championships, they called the 70s the decade of the Demons. And Woody, I think they're going to have to come up with a phrase now for the 80s because they're starting off the right way.
They're pushing off into the right mood right here. And as you pointed out, more than an adequate nucleus coming back next year.
That's Spencer with it. 20 seconds left. And the whistle stopping play once more. Mark Poor is called for his 4th personal foul. The AA championship game for the West Virginia State High School basketball tournament. We'll have the winning coach on at the conclusion of this ball game. And I remember Jennings Boyd telling me last year when we interviewed him after their victory over these same Generals that they were going for the championship nationally, going for the 7th for 1980.
I bet he tells you the same thing today.
I bet you. It's up. Spencer missing. He was going for his 20th point. So with the last 19 seconds remaining to be played, the Generals are working with a basketball. The Demons are back into a zone, and Fuller dribbles the ball out of bounds. So right in front of our broadcast location, or very close to it. By the way, Keith Glenn is into the ball game for Winfield, and David Strickland. Strickland wearing number 42, and Glenn wearing number 10. Terry Pauly, number 44, will come in. So these youngsters will have a chance to say that they played in the Coliseum in the championship game of the state tournament in AA. Long pass is tipped away, and it'll belong to the Demons with lucky 13 showing on the scoreboard clock.
Nobody owned it. The clock failed to start. 13 seconds remaining. 59-52. You see the insert in your screen. We'll count them down for you.
I was going to say, Northfork has led this entire game. There's a shot forced up and another foul. So Terry Pauly is called for his first foul. The Demons had a 19-9 first quarter lead, advanced it to 36-22 by halftime. A 12-point margin at the end of 3 periods for the Demons. And now their lead is 7. Crenshaw, good. And he'll get another one. Crenshaw has made 5 out of 7 at the line, in total 7 points till now. 6'2" junior, Quentin Crenshaw. All kinds of potential. They missed that one, of course, but here come the Generals. Tried to tally. Saved in bounds. It's getting ragged out there with 3 seconds left.
Well, it looks like Keith Glenn may get a chance to get on the board here. With just 3 seconds to go, he'll go to the foul line. Foul called on Jesse Fields. But it's a little too late. 8 points and 3 seconds away.
Well, you know, they say that nice guys finish last. They didn't know about Jennings Boyd. He's one of the true gentlemen. So the bonus will be awarded now. 60-53, a 7-point advantage. Winfield will try to shave a point off that. They have really hung in there. Both of them are successful. Spencer will have the ball as time expires. Up, it's to Crenshaw. That's it. National record tying 7 championships. And at the far end of the floor, maybe you can see that big banner. That's the one we saw in Beckley, and they have unfurled it now. Northfork almost 7. Well, they can erase the almost. They have 7 consecutive championships, and the Blue Demons are being surrounded by a horde of photographers and a joyous Demon bench.
Now the scissors will come out, the nets will come down. Bud Parsons, the equipment custodian here at the Coliseum, will be running back in there to get himself some new nets, I'm sure. But as is the custom, the teams right now, as you see the banners around the Coliseum here in Morgantown, the teams mingle, shake hands, an outstanding display of sportsmanship on the floor right in front of us. And all the excitement is being echoed in the stands and their respective cheering sections here in Morgantown. The Blue Demons of Morgantown, of Northfork rather, are into the record books, statewide and nationwide as well, Bill.
Well, they almost do own Morgantown. You were just about right. You know, in talking about the Blue Demons, all the stats you hear and some of the tidbits, Gary Dove, the chief statistician for Northfork, does an incredible job, and we'd like to thank Gary. And also he mentioned to me in talking about the record tying with Providence Central in Rhode Island that one of the big players was Bad News Barnes in the late 60s, early 70s that helped them establish that championship. A gentleman who has been playing in the NBA on and off.
Jennings Boyd has, he's besieged by the press, radio. We'll be talking with him in just a bit. The presentation of awards about to begin out on the floor. The tournament officials, we see the executive secretary of the SSAC right here in front of us, Sam Williams. Gentleman just went by and tapped me on the shoulder. Had every hope and aspiration of being right here this year. And that's Tom Yester, the head coach of the University High Hawks, who were beaten out by Berkeley Springs. Didn't quite make it into the tournament, but they had a great opportunity to do it. The nets are coming down here at the Coliseum as the Blue Demons of Northfork celebrate their 7th consecutive AA championship. It comes in 1980. We'll be back for the presentations of awards and interview with the winning head coach right after this. Well, there you see it, the Northfork Blue Demons setting not only state but national history with their 7th straight AA championship, 60-54 over the Winfield Generals here at the Coliseum in Morgantown. And my running mate, Bill O'Brien, is at courtside with some most happy fellas. Bill, who have you got with you?
The post-game celebrating for Northfork will continue for many moons to come, but right now we've got some of the participants in this championship game. Over here, Coach Winfield, assistant basketball coach. Off to my far right, the chief statistician, Gary Dove, and of course, the head basketball coach, Jennings Boyd. Coach, congratulations. What can I say? What do you do now for encore?
Well, Bill, thank you very much. We're all terribly excited, and we're a little bit drained right now. A very emotional, hard-played, physical game today, and it's just unbelievable for us. I guess that word describes it as good as any. It is actually unbelievable to us.
Coach Winfield, when did you figure you had this game won?
Oh, well, about middle ways, we thought we wouldn't have too much trouble. And I usually say how sweet it is.
I would say so. Well, if 7 is heaven, why not go for 8? Because that's great, huh?
That's a very good slogan, Bill. And I think the kids have enough potential coming back next year to be a very good AA basketball team next year.
We'll talk about next year in a moment. Gary, you, of course, always a big part of this basketball team, and let's get your thoughts on this big win, Gary Dove.
It's just great, Bill. I couldn't be happier for the kids themselves. They struggled through the first part of the year, came on late in the year, and it's just great for them as kids to have accomplished this feat.
Well, Coach Jennings Boyd, a lot has been written about your exploits on getting the national championship tied, and so what happens now about next year? You going to coach?
Bill, I can't answer that right now. If we had lost today, then this would have been my last game as a coach. But as I've made known to a lot of my friends and to the news media, I will give consideration to coaching again next year. But as of right now, I just honestly can't say. I'm so tired, and we've come through a long, hard year, and I just can't say yes or no at this time. But by the middle of June, after we've had a chance to relax a little bit and settle down, evaluate things with my family, with my other job with the county commission, and with the basketball for next year, I'll make a decision then.
I know at the beginning of the year you told me that this year was really pointing toward next year. You felt that next year would be a super team.
Bill, I still think that way. I think possibly that these young men that we had this year, finally, during the last 6 weeks of this season, which includes the 3 weeks of tournament play just about up to their potential. And I think that with 8 of these players coming back, that whoever is coaching them, there'd be a very good chance for us to be competitive for a state championship again.
Coach, we congratulate you again. A marvelous effort. You and your staff and your boys have just given it all, and it's really thrilling. We appreciate your effort.
Well, Bill, thank you very much. We're very grateful.
And now let's go back to Woody O'Hara for the wrap-up statistically.
Thank you, Bill. A very exciting ball game. Northfork 60, Winfield 54, leading the way in the point department for the Blue Demons. Dwayne Spencer, 19 points. Jesse Fields had 11. 9 apiece from Kenny White and Bob Foster. And Quentin Crenshaw contributed 7 points. Other scorers, Kenny Brown with 3, and George People scored 2. Charlie Fuller led the Winfield Generals with 17 points. Mark Saber had 11. We had 10 points coming from Steve Cozier. Other scorers, Matt Matthews, 9. 3 points from Jamie McKinney, and 2 apiece from Dwayne Sowards and Keith Glenn. So an exciting basketball game. The all-tournament team chosen here had 3 from Northfork, Kenny White, Dwayne Spencer, and Jesse Fields. A couple from Winfield, Mark Saber and Charlie Fuller, got all-tournament recognition, as well as Ravenswood's Jim Comer and Kenny Newbraw from Berkeley Springs. The Cheerleaders Award went to Winfield, cheering section Winfield. Northfork won the Sportsmanship Award, and the Blue Demons won the basketball game. An exciting afternoon. We hope you enjoyed it. Just a reminder for those of you watching on WSWP TV in Beckley, the Class AAA final will be broadcast this Saturday, March 29th at 1 o'clock. If you're watching on WWDVU TV in Morgantown, we'll be bringing you the Class A championship with St. Francis of Morgantown and the Blue Dons of Weirton Madonna, Sunday, March 30th at 7 p.m. Viewers of WMUL TV 33 in Huntington will see the AAA final Sunday, April 6th at 1 in the afternoon. We've had a great time. Thank you for watching, along with Bill O'Brien, Woody O'Hara from the Coliseum in Morgantown. See you again next time.
Public television coverage of the 1980 West Virginia Boys High School Basketball State Tournament was made possible in part by public service grants from A&T Pontiac Buick and Bluefield, K&K Television, B&M Coal Company, and the First Clark National Bank of North Fork.